Right, so good afternoon. So my name is Robert. So I'm the consulting system engineer with Aruba. So I hope everything is safe and good over there in your end. So the topic I'm going to cover today is really about how do you get the most out of your network, right? By using AI to give you uh, intelligence that you have never seen before, to give you the automation to allow your IT team to do more with less. So with that, we're going to talk about the Aruba ESP architecture, where I'll be sharing where we can help you to build and capitalize your business on economic benefit from converting edge-generated data into new business outcomes. So with that, let's get things started. So if you're new to Aruba, let me start by telling you a little bit about us, right? So we started with a next-gen Wi-Fi solution back in 2003. So back then, right, a lot of customers use Wi-Fi as a secondary connectivity. Back then, wired was the main connectivity. And the concern around that was really about security. So to solve that problem, we put in a stateful application-aware firewall into our wireless access point. And until today, right, no one else does that, right? Only Aruba. And moving forward, right, we have changed, we have adapted based on trends, right, that we see in the industry and from our customers. So, give you an example, right, when iPhone was introduced, right, when the first iPhone was introduced, it really turned the IT world upside down, right? People tend and want to bring the iPhones and iPads to office to enhance their work. But IT has problems in terms of security. How do they manage the BYOD device? How do they secure them in an environment where previously you only allow corporate devices in your offices? Next up, right, as a few years back, we started to embrace IoT, especially in retail, in manufacturing environment, in hospitality, to help you to embrace and improve operational efficiencies. So with IoT, how do you help to converge your network rather than creating silo network, which can be very costly? And at the same time, when you do convergence, bringing in IoT into your corporate network, how do you maintain security? And further to that, with your network infrastructure, how do you provide more experiences to your user, such as location-based services to do things like contact tracing, right, where we are today with the COVID pandemic, right, where a lot of our customers use the Aruba wireless AC to do contact tracing, to know who came into the office at what time. And if someone was to be COVID positive, who has come into close proximity with that person. So all that is done using the Aruba wireless infrastructure. Then in 2015, we have merged with HPE, right? We bring us to the next level, right? So with Aruba, we have great Wi-Fi, and with HPE, we have great wire. So combined, it really brings us to that next level. And then when we move on, we really start to embrace, right, cloud, right? We start to embrace AI to help give you that differentiator to allow you to do more with less, to solve problems without even you realizing that there's a problem, so that the guests do not complain, the guests get that great experience. And the latest acquisition that we done, that we acquired Silver Peak to give you great SD-WAN connectivity. So we have always been leading in every industry. Right? We have sold over 850 million switch ports. We have more than 15 million access points already sold. We have more than 500 customers. 300 out of the Fortune 500, out of the Fortune 500 companies are using Aruba solution. As you can see from all these large logos here, from government, NASA, logistics, right? Universities, large stadiums, right? They all uses Aruba. Our solution fits into any vertical, which I'm going to share more later, right? And 50% of the top 20 universities are using Aruba, right? We work very good in education environment, especially when you need to deal with high density environment in auditorium, security to segmentize teachers, students, and guests. Right? So we do that very well. And in terms of leadership, we have been in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for 16 years, right? 16 years, right? And this is the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant for 2021. we are still the leader over there. Right? We showcase really, right, the vision that we have for our customers, right? And also ensuring that we are putting in innovations every time, right, to give you more out of your network. So now, the agenda that we're going to cover today, right, is an overview of our ESP architecture and some use cases, how our customers embrace our ESP, how does it benefit them. And then we're going to go through 4 simple steps on how ESP can help you in your environment. We're going to cover step 1, connect. How do you bring in all these devices to connect to your network, wireless and anywhere, work from home, from the branches, and even in your head office. And then not to forget, we're going to talk about protect. How do you protect all these connections and these IoT devices? And step 3, once all the devices are connected, how do we use AI to analyze all these users, right? And then give you security, right? Give you added benefit, right? And if there's a problem, solve that problem for you, rather than you going on manual, going through logs and calling tags, right? We do all this automatically. And lastly, step 4, how do we help you to accelerate your deployment, allowing you to do more with the budget that you have? So with that, let's get started. So within the next 2 years, over 50% of all data will be generated outside the data center and cloud. And this data will be created by over 55 billion IoT devices connected worldwide. The interesting here is that our customer is recognizing the value of this data, and they are looking into converting it into new business outcomes in just 2 ways. They are looking to use this data to drive greater efficiency in their business. If you think about manufacturing facility, which uses heavy machineries, IoT devices can be used to help the business to control and manage their operation efficiencies, such as running the machine at higher performance, knowing when is the life cycle to service the machine. So this efficiency will help the business to decrease overall cost. So that's one advantage of leveraging all that data at the edge. Number 2 is really about how do we use another way to use this data to drive new revenue stream. How can they use this data to drive greater customer loyalty or even acquire new customers? So when you put these two together, decreasing cost and increasing revenue, that's tremendous opportunity for many of our customers. And that all depends on the data that we get at the edge. So let's talk about challenges, because challenges still exist. So we are seeing huge problem with technology silos, right? Which hinders agility in a lot of different ways. There may be one manufacturer that runs the network for the data center, a separate vendor, right, which runs for the campus network, which has a different operating system. So all of these different expertise that require additional IT stuff, which increases complexity and makes it very difficult to accomplish things. Right? These technology silos is really what stops agility. Next up, right, another problem we are seeing is the lack of automation and visibility. So this is not an Aruba observation alone, right? But from an industry analyst like Gartner, they look around and notice that there is a huge problem with manual work to configure, manage, and troubleshoot the network. So Gartner mentioned that there are only 18%, right, of customers who are doing network changes today, which are automated. So what that means is that majority of the changes today are done manually. And when you do changes manually, right, there are potentials that people does mistakes. And when you do mistakes, the network actually goes down. And when the network goes down, productivity drops, right? And believe me, I've done that before, right? When I was an engineer. So we want to change that. We want to automate things. We are also seeing increase in security threats. This attack surface area has becoming bigger and bigger, with more devices will be being added on a daily basis on your network. So you need to really make sure that you extend the perimeter of your network, right, to all sorts of places, right, to the edge of the network, making sure that everywhere you are protected. And lastly, another challenge that we see, right, in most of our customer environment is really the economic and resource headwind. The reality is that IT budgets have not been increasing, and they are being asked to do more. So while the budget has not gone up, IT team has been asked to deliver increased capacity over and beyond the budget can actually afford. The access to capital becomes difficult for our customers. It is no longer easy to justify the investment in technology or to deliver new skills and capabilities. So without the right resources, it's harder to get the right skill set on a team to upskill your IT staff for the right skill set. So really, the network can do more. So with that, to solve all the challenges that I just shared, I want to introduce to you the Aruba ESP architecture, right? The Edge Services Platform, which is the industry-first AI-powered cloud-native platform designed to automate, unify, and protect the edge. So Aruba ESP architecture has 4 core attributes, right, that enable your organization to focus on harnessing the power of the intelligent edge. We have AI Ops, where we leverages all the information on your network, uses all that data, right, to give you more out of it. Give you an example, allow you to figure out where the user are connected, what application they are using. And if there's a problem, tells you what are those problems, where are they, and how to solve it. So this really helps our customer to reduce the time to troubleshoot problems. And in the result is that your guests and your users get better experience. Next up, right, zero trust security. Very important in all environments, especially when you start to embrace IoT. So with our Aruba zero trust security, we make sure that you know and identify what device is on your network. Are they an IoT device? Are they allowed to be on your network? And what applications can they access, right? So we protect you at the edge where security matters the most. Right? No other vendor put firewall and security where the users are connected. Only Aruba does that. And that unified infrastructure. You no longer need to deploy different siloed solutions for the branches, for work from home, for data center, or even cloud applications. We are able to unify all these different verticals, right? All these over here, remote branch office, cloud, campus, data center into one single dashboard, which we call Aruba Central. So really, the infrastructure level, right? With Aruba Central, which is our cloud-based platform, we help you to manage all your network infrastructure, all the way from the wireless, wired, right, SD branch gateway to allow you to do SD-WAN, 5G, right? We are also helping you to roam, right? When you are outside of the office using cellular network, and when you come into the office, roam seamlessly without any authentication, right, to Wi-Fi. And of course, IoT, right? Helping you to embrace IoT using the Aruba wireless access point as the IoT gateway. And next up, in the middle layer, right, software-defined policy. So we use software to help you to do the orchestration and the automation so that we can identify who's on the network and assign a security policy to that user. And lastly, services, right, on top of it. So with Aruba Central, you use the dashboard to do all that monitoring and management of your infrastructure. And with that, we can provide additional capabilities such as location-based services to do indoor navigation, to do asset tracking, to do contact tracing, to do device onboarding, right, for IoT devices, right, all this, right, as a service. So to accomplish this, right, I'm going to share with you in just 3 simple steps, right? Connect, protect, and analyze and act. So giving you an example, right, how the industry, right, and our customers validate the benefit of Aruba ESP. So as you can see here, from traditional network deployment, and when they move to Aruba ESP, we've seen, right, a significant, right, benefit, right, and lower operational costs, right, up to 56%. As you can see here, the light green over here, the bulk of that savings really come down from dealing with issues, right? So with Aruba ESP, we have built in artificial intelligence to really analyze the network 24/7, telling you where are the problems, who is facing that problem, what are those problems, and how to fix them. And as you can see here, network security, right? The cost of it is really reduced tremendously because built into the ESP architecture, we have that zero trust capability, which I'm going to cover more in the following slides. So with use cases, right? So we have customers in the energy and vertical, like Textmark. So Textmark is a great example on how they leverage the intelligent edge to drive new business outcomes. So Textmark is the chemical refiner which produces products, everything from ink to bolts. Right? So the refining process requires a lot of heat in their factory and highly reactive chemical. So safety is a top priority. So as you can see here, every year, their staff need to walk around the facilities to monitor all those pipes, to monitor all the gauges and manufacturing hardware. And these can cost up to 35,000 hours per year and more than $1 million of inspection costs just to manually go and monitor all these pipes and if they are in a working environment, and not forget safety concerns. So to solve that problem, they've embraced the Aruba ESP architecture by placing Aruba APs everywhere in the entire facility and by working with our Aruba Edge partner sensors. So with that solution that we deploy for them, they are able to monitor all these machineries. They are able to monitor when should they maintain and service the machine without sending someone on site every time to check whether there are vibrations in the pipes, right? So by leveraging connectivity and sensors from our partners, which work with Aruba wireless access point, we can help them to really save up to 50% on maintenance. And we also provide, we built into the Aruba AP, we have Bluetooth, which allows them to do indoor navigation, right? So that in the event of an emergency, we are able to lead them out safely out of the facility. Another use case I want to share is in the manufacturing or semiconductor environment. So we have this customer called Chemet, where they have factories all around the world, and they have 12,000 employees. So before they embrace Aruba, they have challenges in terms of visibility of all their facilities all around the world. So with the Aruba ESP architecture, with Aruba Central, we allow them to unify and have a single dashboard to monitor all their sites. And most importantly, is extending the security capabilities from one facility to another. So what that really means is that when they go to a facility in Singapore, for example, and then when they move to another facility in Malaysia, they get the exact same security policy, the exact same experience from one facility to another. The experience follow the user. And also, our APs are IoT ready. We are able to integrate with the IoT solution, which runs on Zigbee and Bluetooth, so that they can really improve operational efficiencies. Another use case I want to share is in the hospitality vertical. So in this example, you have Noble Hospitality. So the direction that they really want with our solution is really to allow them to do a secure and nimble cloud-innovative infrastructure. So they've already deployed 3 of the hotels in the US and in Europe as well, where they want to have a cloud-based solution so that they can easily monitor their property and reduce the things that they need to deploy on site. And also, they want to provide new guest experience by leveraging the Aruba wireless access point. So with that, right, with the Aruba ESP, we have AI to give them improvements on the network, because our AI solution continuously solve network problems and also help them to improve the network. And we also provide guest experiences, right? Giving you an example, the Aruba AP has Zigbee radio built in. So with the Aruba AP, we integrate with door locks from manufacturers such as Asa Abloy. And also, we also use our Bluetooth radio on our AP to work with React Mobile. So in the US, hotels need to use, or hotel staff to use a panic button. And that panic button works over Bluetooth using the Aruba AP. So whenever they press the panic button, within minutes, all right, security will know where is the housekeeping staff in the property and go and assist them. And all this is done using the Aruba wireless AP. So it's really giving our customer more out of their network, giving them great experiences. And with Skyfi, right? Skyfi leverages our wireless location solution so that whenever a guest comes into the room or to the hotel, we welcome them, we know them, we can provide differentiated experiences to the guests based on where they are in the hotel. So with ESP, right? Let me share with you how we leverage that solution into a simple four-step framework. So step one, connect, right? We need to connect all the devices onto the network. So for many years, users and devices have been connecting, right, their devices to the wireless AP using IP protocol. So now we have things like or IoT that need to connect as well. But these things don't connect the same way that a normal user do with their laptops or their iPhones. So these things right use upwards of 300 different wireless radio technologies to get the traffic onto the network. So built into the Aruba wireless Wi-Fi 6 APs, our latest APs, we have not just Wi-Fi radio, we have also Bluetooth radio, which allows you to do use cases such as indoor navigation. We can do asset tracking, we can do contact tracing, we can do integration with partners with the panic button, which I just talked about just now. And then we have also Zigbee radio built into our AP. So today we can work with door lock manufacturers such as Asa Abloy. And we also have a USB protocol. So like I mentioned, we have out there in the market, there are so many IoT radio protocols, some of them even proprietary. So we have a USB port on our indoor APs where you can just plug in that specific vendor antenna in a USB form factor, plug it to our AP, and then we can just work with them. I'll give you an example on how we use this USB is we integrate with this vendor like we call it SES Imagotech. So SES Imagotech manufactures electronic shelf labels, something that you commonly see in your pharmacies or in your supermarket, right, or grocery stores. So with that, right, with using that vendor's USB antenna dongle, they can leverage our AP to change the price and description on those electronic shelf labels. So the staff don't need to manually take a handheld scan to change the price on those price labels. All that can be done remotely using the Aruba wireless access point. So really, the wireless AP is more than just providing Wi-Fi, but it's also the IoT gateway to help to save money in terms of converging a network. You no longer need to build and deploy separate architecture for your IoT environment. Next up, we also made it much more easier to manage your wireless AP. So for years and across the network industry, IT organizations have been forced to use different AP architecture. So giving you an example, right? Typically, for a campus environment, you will deploy a wireless controller. And in your branch, you will deploy controllerless because in a branch, maybe you need maybe 4 to 5 APs. So there's not really much complexity. So in the intelligent edge era with ESP, those complexities really create delay and downtime. So we decided to unify and simplify our wireless portfolio into a single architecture. Now you can deploy Aruba AP anywhere, right? Anywhere and manage it the same way from the same location. We've eliminated the need for an on-premise based controller even for campus deployment. We made it simple. So there's no more complexity, no more silos. So wired device also serves as a platform for users and IoT connectivity. So bandwidth hungry IoT devices such as cameras or pure devices, right, still need to connect to the switch. And until recently, organizations, right, oftentimes deploy specific switches based on their role, right? For example, access switches, you have data center switches, you have distributor switches, and these switches, right, all carry different operating systems, different software from different vendors, and that really creates complexity. So we solved that. We create a single unified operating system called EOS-CX, which we built in-house from the ground up, right? So EOS-CX is the first operating that works from the wiring closet to campus cloud and into the data center, a single OS. So the cloud native CX platform, right, can be updated, right? You can update these switches without losing power to IoT device, right? That means that when you power down the switches, do a power cycle, the switch still provides PoE to your cameras, to your smart lightings, right? We can also help you to validate configurations before you implement, right? And if there's a problem, roll it back to the best working configuration So with one cloud-native OS, right, the teams and tools can unify to improve efficiency and really reduce the time to value and time to resolution. So the last element of connectivity in this step one is that we need to unify the connectivity from the edge to cloud. So today, organizations connect to the cloud using a combination of triple connectivity, such as MPLS, which are very expensive, cellular network like 4G, 5G, and broadband connection. So managing and prioritizing across all these links, so cloud-based applications can perform at their best. So with that, we have solutions where you can use our Aruba APIs or our gateways to allow you to interconnect your sites seamlessly and easily, right? And of course, securely using IPsec encrypted tunnel using normal broadband internet links or cellular links. So with that, we also put in intelligence to make sure that if one link fails, you can seamlessly fall back to another link. For example, if your primary link is MPLS, we can seamlessly let you fall back to broadband link or cellular network link without any downtime. We can also prioritize applications, right? So if you're working in a branch, we can help you identify what applications are being used in your environment. And we know that video calls such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams need to be prioritized. We can help you to do that as well. So thus far, we've unified protocols onto Aruba APIs. We've unified our AP architecture across campus and branch, and we unified our switching architecture from the closet to the core to the data center. And we unified branch to cloud connectivity. But to really streamline our operations, we eliminate that siloed management, the disparate toolset and complex operational processes. Right? So we want to unify everything that you see here on the screen, right, using a common dashboard. So to do that, right, we use Aruba Central, right, a single dashboard to manage all these different infrastructure, all the way from wireless, wired, IoT, and even SD-WAN. Right? You no longer need to have different dashboard, different software just to do all these functionality. We simplify it. So really, we started this project back in 2014 with a cloud-native platform so that we can provide microservices, right? We can provide containers for portability. We can provide a unified data lake for your wireless users, for your wired users, for your WAN users. Take all that data and leverage AI to give you information, to give you more out of it. So it really is designed to eliminate silo operations and to allow you to access new services. So most recently, we've begun moving control and management services from the infrastructure, right, into the cloud. So for years, the bulk of this feature was tied to infrastructure. So this made it very difficult for us to innovate because every time when we put in new features in the past, we need to upgrade the firmware in the APIs, in the switches. But now, because we moved to the cloud, all these capabilities and innovations stays in the cloud. You don't longer need to upgrade the firmware on the APIs and the switches. They are able to leverage those functionalities. So what this means for you is that you are able to use Aruba APIs and switches for a longer period of time. The longevity and life cycle becomes longer, and you get more innovation from Aruba. So this really eliminates the need for things like, for example, an on-premise wireless controller, and giving you more investment out of your deployment. Next up, I'm going to change gears and talk about protect. So we talk about step one, where we introduce how can you connect your devices to your environment. But now we need to also protect those devices. So first thing first, right? When you have devices in your environment, you need to know what devices are those. You need to know, is it an IP camera? Is it an IP phone? Is it a corporate laptop? Right? Because if you have no visibility on what's on your network, there's no way you can assign security policy. So with that, built into Aruba Central, we have ClearPass device insight. So with ClearPass device insight, we give you a dashboard to give you full visibility on what device are those by leveraging AI-powered solutions and machine learning. So once you have that identity of the device, we can then move on, right, to assign security policy. So with that, if you see here on the left-hand side, right, all these are devices which connect to your network, right, via wire and wireless. So this is where we put in our state-of-the-art solution, where we call it dynamic segmentation. So what dynamic segmentation really does is that regardless whether it's wire or wireless, we can have all these devices be on the same VLAN. You no longer need to segment the user based on different VLANs. You want to simplify your solution, right? Putting them on the same VLAN, right? That means that you don't need to worry about, creating different subnets, right? And when you create different subnets, you need to create different security policy, which only increases complexity. So with that, we can potentially put all the devices in the same VLAN. And when they connect to the network, right, we use ClearPath Policy Manager to do the orchestration, to do the automation. So for example, if it's a corporate user who to connect to the network, we know, oh, it's a corporate user, assign him a corporate user policy. And when the user connects to the network, the user will, traffic will go through our Aruba gateway. So the Aruba gateway is essentially a stateful application-aware firewall, which does deep packet inspection and identify what application does this user need to access. So if it's an employee user, right, we'll create a security policy whereby employees will be able to access to Office 365 and Air Group, right, but not access to things like academic records or even malware. We can protect the user using our firewall. Same thing, right? If it's an IoT device, we can create a security policy whereby the IoT device can only talk to the IoT device server. So in the event that, for example, if the camera or a printer, if the printer were to be infected by a malware, the printer can only communicate with its print server. It cannot infect the user, right? And that's what the gateway does. So the gateway really extends the firewall capability to the edge where the users connect. So you can think of it that all our wireless access points and our access switches are really firewall, right? And no other vendor does this. So the great thing about this is that you don't need to do a forklift upgrade to implement this solution, right? All you need to do is implement Aruba access switch, Aruba access point, and put our gateways, right, in the data center. You don't have to change the core switch. You don't have to change the distribution switch, right? Our access and AP, we build an overlay tunnel across your existing infrastructure to implement our dynamic segmentation solution. And next up, all right, not forgetting, we need to protect you from the edge to the internet, right? I'm sure you have traffic going to the internet. So within that Aruba gateway that we just talked about, built into the gateway, we leverage the firewall to control what you can access. And we also have IDS, IPS built into that gateway. So with that, we are able to do threat intel to identify if there are any malware, command and control, or ransomware that try to attack your user. We are able to identify them based on signatures and pattern-based detection. And once we identify those threats, immediately we will block them out. And of course, if you have solutions from Zscaler, Checkpoint, and Palo Alto, we can also help you to integrate with them. So built into Aruba Central, we've already done all this integration for you with a few simple clicks. Next up, with step 3, we need to analyze and act. So with analyze and act, right, we really talk about how can we make sure you have uptime and maintain the performance every single time. So 55% of today's network operations are manual. And what I mean by that is that most of the time when you do changes, such as change requests or troubleshooting, it has always been manual. And when you do it manually, problems can happen. We are all human, but people do mistakes. And sometimes we may often look at wrong areas to troubleshoot, which makes troubleshooting take up to hours and even sometimes weeks. And we noticed based on Gartner research that only 5% of customers today leverages AI and machine learning to help augment network operations. So I'm going to share with you one use case of our customer in India. So they are an e-commerce platform customer. They have about 36% market share. You can think of them like a Lazada or Shopee or Amazon, right? But in India. So they have about 10,000 employees. So the direction that this company gave us is that they really want to embrace cloud. They have warehouses, right, all around India, and they have a very lean and small IT team. So what this means is that they want to simplify network and operations, but not sacrificing security. So the requirement they give us is pretty straightforward. If there's a problem, help us to identify the problem and solve it for us. Because having a small and lean IT team, if there's a problem, it will take up too much of their time troubleshooting problems rather than helping their guests or their users, right, to improve operation efficiency. So with that, right, they pick our solution, right, because we have AI built into our platform. We allow them to resolve issues faster, right, solving problems for weeks to hours, right. So all this really equals to saving time and reducing downtime. So imagine every time the network goes down for them, when the warehouse goes offline, right, they lost millions of dollars. So really, this helped them to really innovate, right, and solve problems and bring it to the next level. So with the Aruba AI Ops, right, solution built into Aruba Central and built in as part of the ESP architecture, we have powerful features, right? We have AI Assist, where we can analyze all your data, and if there's a problem, give you recommendations to solve that problem. We have AI search built into our solution. So think of it like Google, right? Think of it like Google. You just put in keywords like, where is Robert connected, right? I want to see the performance of my site in Manila, right? Just key in simple languages, and then it will give you those information. So what this really does is to reduce the number of clicks that you need to do through the web GUI. And we have AI insights, which really monitors everything on your network, tells you what are the problems, right? And give you recommendations. So really, the outcome of this is to give you up to 90% faster issue resolution, 25% more capacity, because not just that we solve problems for you, we help you to optimize your network as well, right? And of course, 90%, we have seen 95% of accuracy in identifying root causes. So give you an example, right, of this problem. So this is an example where we have this customer-facing problem where there are network flags. We have VPN tunnel flags. So when this problem happens, the branch goes down. So with Aruba AI Assist solution, we are able to identify, oh, there's a problem with the VPN tunnel, tell you where that problem happened, and give you an alert. Next up, when you go in and drill down deeper, when you click on it, right, we tell you the description of the problem. What is it? And where is it? And we collect all the necessary logs on your behalf. Right? We know already this is the problem that's happening. These are the logs that you need. Right? We help you to generate the logs so that you can email it to Aruba Tech, right, to get further assistance. You can email it to your partner or to Aruba directly so that we can help you solve that problem. But we want to take things one step further, make it easier. Why not we do it automatically? So we can also bring in Aruba Tech in automatically. You don't need to call Tech. You don't need to email them, right? So through our AI Assist, Aruba Tech will monitor your problem, right? They'll see, this is a VPN problem, and then Tech will analyze the problem and feedback to you that this is the problem that you're facing and how to fix that problem. As you can see here, this is a sample email from our Tech. So another thing is AI is that we have AI search, right? By just doing a simple search on a top bar, and by searching it, we can easily find information, right? By doing 2 clicks just to find the root cause. Pretty simple. Like you don't have to click so many buttons on the GUI, just search for it. So really with AI Ops, our goal is to help you solve problems faster, to allow you to do more with less so that your engineers can really focus on what matters most for your organization, which is planning how to improve operational efficiency, or maybe even go and learn new skill sets. And lastly, with step 4, how we help you to accelerate, right, your network deployments with the budget that you have. So the Aruba ESP solutions that I just shared can be deployed as a service, right? So within Aruba, we have our financial arm called HPE Financial Services, where you can actually make your total deployment as a service and do it as a financing plan, right? We can split the payment into a financing plan. We can also use our solution as a software as a service. So Aruba Central is really a subscription-based service, right? So it really helps you to really do more with the budget that you have. We can also help you, right? If you have a lean IT team and you don't have the right skill set, we can provide managed services, right? So coupled with financial services, software as a solution or software as a service, we can help you to take over your infrastructure, help you to monitor all these alerts, solve that problem for you, and do change requests on your behalf. So basically means Aruba is your NOC, right? We can also do a total network as a service, right? We can put in the hardware and the software as a service together, right? So that you can put it as an OPEX. So in summary, right, the intelligent edge, right, really requires new thinking and new platform to allow you to do all this functionality. So Aruba ESP is really built around a cloud-native platform, and we built in AI to automate your solutions so that you don't have to do so much manual work. Right? Everything is done automatically and orchestrated using software. Right? And not to forgetting, we implement security at it as well. So to implement ESP in an environment is really just 4 simple steps, right? Connect, protect, and analyze and accelerate. So with that, thank you very much. This is my presentation, and I'm open for any questions.